Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Season 2. Did you see that big-ass tree? Ooh. In last week's episode, Max, Callus, and Magnus? Not sure if he's part of the party or if he is hanging around for a little bit. Oh well. The three amigos, as I put it, left the mountain... I wasn't recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Season 2. Did you see that big-ass tree that came up at the end of the last episode? Ooh. In last week's episode, Max, Callus, and... Magnus? Not sure if he's part of the party or if he's just hanging around for a little bit. Oh well. Anyway, the three amigos, as I put it, left the mountainous path and made their way to a nearby town. Oh, wait. Correction. Two of them were walking. Callus was still knocked out and was being carried on Magnus's shoulder. While they were walking, Max was noticeably annoyed, and I soon found out why and joined him in Annoyanceville. Turns out it was Magnus going on and on about how he... is Magnet the Mountain Mover, or whatever the hell he says. Thankfully, Callus woke up and cut his pride parade of sorts short. When Callus woke up, he shook himself off and mistook Callus. When Callus woke up, he freed himself from Magnus's shoulder and mistook him for a retirement agent and attacked him. But Max cleared the air and his defenses washed away very soon, as if nothing ever happened. I guess he's going super senile now. When the sun began to set, When the sun started to set, the three entered the town, and Max was able to get one room with a singular bed, and all three had to share it, and somehow they made it work. However, when morning started the next day, the three snuck out because, well, they broke the bed. Not in a dirty way, you dirty birds. Sorry. When morning came, they all snuck out because they broke the bed. Not that way, you dirty birds, because they're old man-children, that's why, and they set out for the enchanted grotto. Finally! When they arrived, they saw the noticeably big-ass tree that I mentioned earlier and went to it only for it to grow and stretch out and reveal a face. Whoa! Shortly after that, the tree face spoke, and that's where the episode ended. We are now on episode 16, The Sage of Ages and Flipper, the Dapper Frog. Oh, great. Another talking animal companion. How original. Alright, well, that's obviously getting cut. Alright, so now we go to the actual script. We do this. Intro. Scruff. Alright, now we go like this. We can close you. Don't save. Alright, 3, 2, oops. Standing a staggeringly towering height of God knows how high and covering the entire hidden valley is the very being they've been looking for. The Sage of Ages. Magnus looks up at the sage and is for once speechless. Thank God. While he remains gobsmacked silent, Callus falls to his knees and bows relentlessly before it. While the two show proper signs of respect, Max stands there like he doesn't give a flying fig about the entire thing. It would seem that up till now, everything was a test of his sanity, or how much of a crap, as he would put it, he could care about. Max looks over at Magnus and is appalled by his formalities. Max turns to Callus with the same unexpected expression, jaw open and eyebrows raised. Then the sage looks at Max, and Magnus, and Callus shortly after. Then the sage looks at Max, and Magnus and Callus follow shortly after. Max looks at both Callus and Magnus and crosses his arms, after which he looks up at the tree, unimpressed. The sage raises its Excuse me? Oh, no, I did read that right. I'm not going stupid. The sage raises its tree brow. Tree brow. Key word there, folks. The sage raises its tree brow and is conflicted with Max's attitude, but smiles shortly after knowing he would act like that. He lets out a mild chuckle and answers him. Magnus and Callus clap at the sage's storytelling, while Max is left confused. The bushes and roots that surround the base of the sage recede, and out walks a tall, slender individual. It comes out wearing a top hat, suit and bow tie, and a rapier holstered at its side. It stands before Max, Magnus, and Callus, and kneels before them, but remains quiet. Max nods and is rather happy with the deal. The winds pick up from the outside, and it's a sign for the sage. His branches begin to recede and decay slowly. Leaves fall, and smaller, weaker branches break apart and fall all over the area. As soon as they hit the ground, the flora in the area wither and die, and the fauna slowly leave, as they know the area is no longer hospitable. The others around notice this and grow concerned. As Max cries out for more answers, the rest of the leaves all shrivel up and all fall at the same time, creating a hauntingly beautiful spectacle. As the last remaining leaves flutter down, Max looks to see the tree turning gray and slowly decay. The sage closes its eyes, but answers Max one last time before passing on. After that, the last flower in the front of the tree withers, decays, and breaks away, and its remnants fly with the wind. The valley once known as the Enchanted Grotto has now withered and passed on, and the sage that was housed there has left this plain. Now tasked with a whole lot to do and causing the next and possibly final phase of his oddly short quest, Max remains paralyzed in place as the burden starts to feel heavy on him. Magnus runs around the leaves and plays in them like a child, already forgetting that they were once part of the sage that he so dearly respected. Callus goes up to Flipper, the new fourth party member who remains quiet and Callus goes up to Flipper, the new fourth Callus goes up to Flipper, the new fourth party member who remains quiet and kneeled before the tree. What will Max Dougal do now? What will become of his adventure? Stay tuned for the next... Oh, sorry. Oh my. I guess Max has something else in store. I guess this episode isn't over yet. Max shakes his head to temporarily clear it and goes to Flipper. He sticks his hand out to the lanky individual. Flipper raises his head and shows his true form. A frog man? Yikes! Yes, a frog man. He looks at Max's hand and reaches out and shakes the hand. He looks up at Max's hand and reaches out for it and shakes, then stands shortly after. Max nods to Magnus and looks back at Flipper. Flipper smiles, I think, removes his top hat, and bows before Max as he formally introduces himself. Max starts to head back the way they came, and the others follow. When they exit the dead grotto, well, that's a little harsh, they head back to the inn and rest up again. While they walk back, Flipper tries to be all friendly with everyone and get to know them better. He gets along well with Magnus and Callus, but when he tries to talk to Max, he is blown off or dismissed. Come on, Max, don't be rude. Flipper opens his mouth wide, lifts his long, stretchy tongue with one hand, and reaches deep into it. What? Flipper opens his mouth wide, lifts his long, stretchy tongue with one hand, and reaches in deep with the other, and pulls out a brown sack. Ew! He closes his mouth and pulls out 60 gold coins and gives it to the innkeeper. After paying the man, he tosses the sack in the air and opens his mouth to put it back in. After paying the man, he tosses the sack back in. Fuck. After paying the man, he tosses the sack in the air and opens his mouth to put the sack away. That's a lovely party trick, but don't ever do it again, please. That's disgusting. I was already disgusted when you reached into your mouth, dirty frog. Flipper takes the key to the room, tips his hat to the innkeeper, and leads the party to their room. They all sleep rather quickly and go through the night without a peep. Once morning hit and they're awake, they all meet up outside and set out for their next destination, the capital city of Galavandriel, the royal palace, to the royal palace where the evil king resides. Now that's the end. To the royal palace where the evil king resides. Now that's the end of the episode. Whew. I'm not going to lie to you folks, but Max kind of scared me back there. Oh well, maybe a good night's rest and a small break from this episode from now until next week will help clear his mind. Until then, you folks have a good evening. I'll see you next time. Take care. Only 11 minutes. Okay. All right, so now we go character by character. But we're going to stop.